By 2030, researchers predict that 50% of all jobs globally could be performed remotely. That is not a distant dream. It is already happening. And the companies that are getting this wrong are losing their best people at a rate that has never been seen before in modern business history. The question is no longer whether remote work is real. The question is who wins and who gets left behind. In the next 10 minutes, you are going to understand exactly how we got here, what the data actually says about productivity, mental health, and performance, and the one counterintuitive truth that neither the remote work advocates nor the return-to-office crowd wants to admit. Because the real answer is not what either side is telling you. Stay with this until the end, because the final insight changes everything about how you think about the future of your career. Let us go back to where this all began. Office work as we know it was essentially invented in the 20th century. Before industrialization, most people worked from home or close to it. Farmers, craftsmen, merchants, the idea of commuting to a centralized building every single day was not the norm. It was the exception. The modern office culture was born out of the industrial era, where managers believed that physical proximity was the only way to supervise output and maintain control. That belief shaped nearly 100 years of workplace design, corporate culture, and career structure. Then in March 2020, everything collapsed in a matter of weeks. The COVID-19 pandemic forced approximately 1.6 billion workers worldwide to either stop working entirely or shift to remote arrangements almost overnight. Companies that had spent decades insisting remote work was impossible suddenly made it work in 72 hours. That fact alone should tell you something enormous about the nature of institutional resistance to change. The early data from 2020 and 2021 was genuinely surprising. A Stanford study led by economist Nicholas Bloom found that remote workers were, on average, 13% more productive than their office counterparts. Call center employees at a Chinese travel company worked more hours, took fewer breaks, and handled more calls per minute from their homes. Productivity, by nearly every measurable standard, did not collapse. For many companies, it actually went up. But here is what nobody talks about when they cite that statistic. The 13% productivity gain was not universal. It was highly dependent on the type of work being done, the quality of the home environment, and critically, the personality and working style of the individual. For some workers, productivity shot up 20 or 30%. For others, it tanked completely. The average looked good. The distribution told a more complicated story. By 2022 and into 2023, the narrative began to shift. Companies that had fully embraced remote work started noticing things the data had not fully captured. Collaboration quality declined in measurable ways. A study published in Nature Human Behavior analyzed communication patterns at Microsoft during the pandemic and found that remote work caused professional networks to become more siloed. Employees communicated less with people outside their immediate teams. The kind of spontaneous cross-departmental interaction that drives innovation, that hallway conversation that turns into a product idea, was disappearing. Innovation pipelines at several major firms started showing slower output, though the causal link remained debated. Mental health data added another layer of complexity. A McKinsey survey found that 40% of employees reported feeling burned out at higher rates during remote work periods compared to office environments. The boundaries between work and personal life dissolved. The commute, long criticized as a productivity killer, was actually functioning as a psychological transition zone for millions of people. Without it, work bled into every hour of the day and night. Slack messages at 11 p.m. became normal. Vacation days were taken but not actually used for rest. And then the companies started fighting back. In 2023, the return-to-office wave hit with serious force. Amazon mandated 5 days a week in office. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Tesla, and dozens of other major employers followed. Elon Musk, upon acquiring Twitter, sent an internal memo calling remote work morally wrong and demanding immediate full-time office attendance. The corporate resistance was not subtle. But here is what happened next. The employees pushed back harder than any corporate leadership team had anticipated. Surveys from Gallup and Pew Research showed consistently that over 60% of workers who had the option to work remotely preferred a hybrid or fully remote arrangement. Microsoft's Work Trend Index found that 87% of employees said they were productive working remotely, while 73% said they needed a better reason to come into the office than simply because leadership told them to. Turnover spiked at companies with the harshest return-to-office mandates. Amazon reported that many of its most senior engineers and technical leads quietly updated their LinkedIn profiles and accepted offers from competitors within weeks of the 5-day mandate announcement. The talent war had a new front line, and it was physical space. Companies that offered genuine flexibility were winning recruiting battles against legacy giants who insisted on full-time office attendance. This was not a minor shift. Engineering salaries at fully remote companies were competitive, the talent pool was global, and overhead costs were dramatically lower. A software startup based in Austin hiring engineers who lived in Lisbon, Nairobi, and Seoul was not a novelty. It was the standard operating model for hundreds of fast-growing companies. Now let us talk about the hybrid model, because this is where the most interesting and underreported dynamics are playing out. Hybrid work, commonly defined as 2 to 3 days per week in office, has emerged as the statistical preference for the majority of knowledge workers globally. But hybrid is not a single thing. There are two fundamentally different types of hybrid arrangements, and they produce completely different outcomes. The first type is structured hybrid, where teams coordinate to be in the office on the same days. This version works. Collaboration happens. Relationships are built. The office becomes a social and creative tool rather than just a monitoring mechanism. The second type is unstructured hybrid, where individuals choose their own in-office days without coordination. This version often produces the worst of both worlds. Employees come in to find their colleagues are not there. The office becomes a ghost town on Mondays and Fridays. The commute cost is paid without the social benefit being received. Studies from Gallup show that unstructured hybrid workers often report lower engagement than either fully remote or fully in-office employees. The leadership question matters enormously here as well. Managers who were trained entirely in physical environments often struggle to lead remote teams effectively. Proximity bias, the tendency to give better performance reviews, promotions, and opportunities to people who are physically visible, is one of the most documented and dangerous side effects of poorly managed hybrid work. Research from Stanford's Remote Work Institute found that remote workers were 18% less likely to receive a promotion compared to office workers performing at identical levels. That is not a small gap. That is a structural disadvantage that changes careers over time. So what does the real future of work actually look like? The honest answer, backed by evidence rather than ideology, is that there is no single correct model. The future belongs to organizations that treat work arrangement as a design problem rather than a culture war. The companies that will win are the ones asking not where work happens but how work is structured to produce the best outcomes for specific types of roles, specific personalities, and specific business goals. Fully remote works exceptionally well for deep individual contributors, software engineers, writers, analysts, and researchers who need long uninterrupted blocks of focus time. In-office works better for roles that depend on trust building, mentorship, onboarding, and creative collision. Hybrid, done with structure and intentionality, can genuinely capture benefits from both worlds. The workers who will thrive are not the ones who fight hardest for remote or loudest for office. They are the ones who understand how to perform at the highest level in any environment, who communicate results clearly, who build relationships regardless of physical proximity, and who take ownership of their own productivity rather than waiting for their environment to optimize it for them. The future of work is not a location. It is a discipline. Before you go, if you learned something valuable today, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to Trend Now Daily for a brand new video every single day. We will see you in the next one.